Peace and welcome back to the Curriculum, Home Remedies to Stay Woke. I'm Uncle Baye. Now, stay woke is a phrase we can hear almost daily in this day and age. And it's one used to encourage us to stay conscious of the world around us. But how exactly do we do this? Is it enough to read a bunch of books to stay woke? Or to regularly watch and stay current of the news? Or is it through sharing and being active on social media? Or maybe you gotta attend a protest or a political debate. Does that make you woke? Well, this is the week 3 lesson video of the Curriculum. Now, in previous classes, we looked at exactly what is a way of defining conscious or woke. So now, we're ready. This is the class where we start to look at how we stay woke. And to do this, I'm gonna show you how we learn what we know. The name of today's course is Master Teachers and Model Students. But first, if this information is valuable to you, it would really help us out if you can go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. That's going to keep our class in session. Now, when we think about how we learn, the first thing we have to establish is that we are a part of something called a continuum. And this only means that every moment we experience is made possible by a previous moment. Every life is brought to you by a life that came before it. Not just the life of your parents. I mean, the doctor that may have delivered you, the taxi cab driver that may have drove your mom to the hospital. These people are tied into your existence to this day. And since the whole world is connected, we may theoretically be able to assume this for everything. But let's take this slow. So we're in a continuum. And because of this fact, it's in our nature to learn things through social interaction. We're social creatures. And human society as a whole is a social experience. So our next generation will directly be taught beliefs, ideas, hopes, knowledge from today. Every generation inherits what precedes it, both the tangible and intangible things. And this also includes any confusion or ignorance or lack of knowledge. And now if this idea triggers you in any way, just know it's already happened to you and you've already done it as well. This is most likely to never change. We learn from the generation that precedes us. And this learning happens in both formal and informal ways, both blatant and hidden ways. And it continues for our entire lives. So when we discuss this idea of wokeness or consciousness, we can only assume that there's a way for us to be taught that helps us to become or stay conscious. Now you may be thinking, well, you just need to learn as much as you can about the world and then you'd be conscious. But is that really what we mean when we say conscious? Because I understand that in being conscious, there's some degree of responsibility we hold. Think about things you've learned about the world, areas of challenges and struggle that are faced by people, and some of which that you directly participate in. Now, if we're really socially conscious, why haven't we changed our collective behavior to stop these things? Can I say that my behavior is not still crashing into people? Let's be real. You as an individual are aware of contradictions in your actions with things that you consciously know should change in the world. And in most cases, this isn't done maliciously. I mean, you ain't trying to hurt nobody. It's usually more like this. You learn that there's a reason for something to change in the world, something that you should avoid doing, but then you do it anyway. Say, for example, you learn that standing in front of polka dots is not good for you or the world. I know, just go with me on this one. Let's say doing it adversely affects the health of every uncle in the world. Please don't do it. Please don't do this. And so you do a little research on it and you decide no more polka dots. And you get serious about it. You may even protest for it. You even go to protest about polka dots. And you watch movies that give you messages about the dangers of polka dots. No more polka dots. No more polka dots. So you ain't playing. You're determined you're not even messing with the polka dot. Why am I standing in front of polka dots? How did I get over here? How did I get over here? So why are you standing in front of the polka dots? I don't know. How did I get over here? And it's not like you're conflicted. You're sure that this is the change that you want. But no matter what you do, you can't seem to stop standing in front of the polka dots. And you know you're supposed to avoid the polka dot area because of what it does to uncles. Sorry. Now here's the thing. The distance between where you were in this place and where you are in this place reveals what is called our unconscious behavior. Well, which one were you going to say? Well, I don't know which. Which one is the right one?
It's just being unconscious.
Just being unconscious, yeah. And these are habits and ways we've been conditioned to rationalize or compromise ourselves, which work against the principles of what consciousness or wokeness may tell us is right. Get it? In fact, in slowing this moment down, we might reveal the specific thing that got us to do what we said we didn't want to do. When we may have become unconscious of the predictable outcome of our actions. So, all throughout history, in every area of study, an external observer is always useful in guiding our unconscious behaviors. When we're becoming distracted, it's there to make sure we stay on course. And in every area of study, these people are called teachers. The experience that a teacher has from their life might be useful to our life. Their area of study or mastery gives us a leg up on our study. Which brings us to this concept introduced last class of a master teacher. So if what Georgia and Muldrow said is true for her is true for me, and I'd stay woke if they were master teachers, what is a master teacher? So this word master teacher is found in everything from religion to martial arts to even formal Western education. And the criteria of a master teacher in each of these areas may slightly differ, but when you distill it down, it presents the same thing. And that thing is this: master teachers are effective at creating independent learners out of students. They come into the life of a student having mastered or gained expertise in something, gives them tools and insights, ultimately so the student's able to grow and thrive without them. Things the teacher did, the student can now do. Things that the teacher once thought about, now the student is able to think about. And therefore the student is placed on the road toward mastery. And now a criteria of what makes a master teacher can be drilled down to these areas. The master teacher's focus is on the student's learning, which means that they know that students learn in different ways, and so they're able to adjust how they teach. Master teachers are exceptional in communicating and connecting with their students. Master teachers always hold high expectations for their students, and no matter what, master teachers believe that all students can learn. And in that positive mindset, they approach teaching. Now, thinking back on this week's prompt, if your most memorable teacher was one that had an impact on you in these ways, then congratulations. You might have had a master teacher. And if instead you recall a teacher that had none of these qualities, I probably could assume what type of impact that had on how you viewed the subject. In the lyric video that you saw for Back to My Garden, I recounted my experience of being nurtured by a dynamic community of collected-minded individuals.
I just thought I came from a long line, and they gave me pride. And
one individual teacher who planted a seed was briefly featured in my preschool year photo in the video. She, as an educator, connected with me and my peers with heightened cultural sensitivities. Yeah, that's me. She captured our young imagination with her talent for visual art, music, and movement to instill in us a love for our heritage and intelligence. For me, she was and is one of the master teachers that gave me a sense of purpose for wearing my thinking cap. And she's still doing the same thing for my nieces and nephews today. Now, of course, we know mastery of any subject is only achieved through discipline and practice, right? No one is born a master of any area of human study. In life, we're all students. But how does a student become a master of a thing? And what type of student is able to do that? This brings us to this idea of a model student. I'm sure you heard this word at some point in your life, probably talking about somebody in class. Model student. Now, the model student will firstly have to have the willingness to learn what they're studying. I mean, that's basic, but this willingness would have to be supported by a belief that they can actually learn something, a belief in oneself. Now, a model student is not necessarily getting the highest grades, but they show a passion for learning the subject. So, tying this back to consciousness and trying to stay woke, a model student might want to understand how they're participating in this interconnected world. And they probably would pay close attention and study this interconnectivity. And so this master-teacher, model-student relationship might be useful when one's trying to avoid going into the polka dot area. The master teacher may show them some of the pitfalls, and the student could accept their guidance. So you're probably saying, Uncle Baye, I don't know any master teachers, and I'm not even in school. I'm just trying to stay woke. I got you. I got you. Here's the secret. There's an old saying, and it's this: when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Now, this concept is not really as spooky and magical as it may sound on first glance. Remember discussing how our consciousness changes when we learn something that changes our perception? And at those moments, it's like we're awakened to a new way of seeing the world. The teachers in our lives are surrounding our experiences the moment our perception of the world changes. You may find teachers everywhere. In fact, you may feel as if a book or a song or passing conversation are all lending insights that are useful to your area of mastery, all reminding you not to go into the polka dot zone. It's a very strange thing, but it has more to do with this thing we're calling consciousness and our perception. But know that this is the only way that anyone has ever mastered anything through history. The only way we do it is through an internal practice, a discipline of our mindset. And in many cases, this discipline of how we're now perceiving the world reveals in real time someone that serves as a real master teacher. And they help us to maintain that practice. So boom. Now, I probably don't have to tell you, but the opposite concept is true as well. The resistant, closed-minded, distracted, uninvested student will probably not find a teacher. Needless to say, a master teacher. And they won't find one regardless of if one is staring them dead in their face, or if the circumstances that they could learn from are dead in their face. They will probably end up in the polka dot zone. And I feel sorry for their uncles. So the theory that Georgia and Muldrow and Erykah Badu presented in Master Teacher is probably true. We would stay woke if they were only master teachers, but it's in our ability to be model students that we discover where they are. Now, you may have caught this already, but I'm gonna point it out to you anyhow. In both the minds of the master teacher and the minds of the model student, this conscious learning and growth only takes place when there's a positive outlook on the part of both of them. Our learning only takes place when there's a positive outlook, meaning that both the teacher and the student have to consciously believe that learning and growth is possible. So, what does positivity really have to do with being conscious? Let's hold off on that until next week. So if you appreciated this, according to how this thing works, it's really important that you hit that like and subscribe. And drop me a comment. I'd love to have a conversation with you. I'm Uncle Baye, onward and upward.